Let's look at the problem. On one side, the team is trying to work together. On the other, the work is split across disconnected tools, which makes Scrum hard to run cleanly. Scrum works best when one team shares one clear view of the work. If chat, spreadsheets, email, and separate task trackers all hold different pieces, nobody sees the full picture. First, updates get lost between tools. A decision in chat may never reach the spreadsheet or task board. Second, priorities drift. When each tool shows a different list, the team cannot agree on what comes next. This is the core risk. Scrum is not just meetings. It needs a single, visible workflow so the team can plan, track, and finish work together. These are the core Scrum players and artifacts. Together, they turn work into a clear sprint rhythm. In Scrum, the product owner decides what matters most, and the team pulls the next best work from the backlog. The Scrum Master protects the process and removes blockers. Developers build the feature together and keep the sprint moving. The sprint board shows what is ready, in progress, and done. A 2-week sprint is a short, fixed cycle. The team commits to a small goal, works it through the sprint, and then reviews the result. Sprint planning starts the cycle by choosing a realistic goal. Daily stand-ups keep the team aligned and surface blockers early. At the end, review the feature with stakeholders and use the retrospective to improve the next sprint. So the roles are simple: decide, facilitate, build, and visualize. When the backlog is prioritized and the board is visible, Scrum becomes easier to run. Here's the difference between a healthy Scrum rhythm and a chaotic meeting habit. The sprint board works best when every ceremony moves work forward. Each meeting has one job, so the team knows what to expect and what to do next. In daily stand-up, the team syncs on progress, blockers, and the next step. It should be short and focused on the sprint board, not a long status report. In sprint planning, the team commits to a realistic slice of work. The product owner brings priorities, and the Scrum Master keeps the discussion structured. In the review, the team shows finished work to stakeholders. In the retrospective, they inspect how they worked and agree on one improvement. A common mistake is turning Scrum into extra meetings. That usually happens when status updates are scattered and no one protects the cadence. The Scrum Master's job is to protect the rhythm, remove friction, and keep ceremonies purposeful. When the cadence is stable, the team spends less time coordinating and more time delivering. Remember, Scrum ceremonies are a system, not separate events. When the flow is clear, the team gets faster and more predictable. From intake to backlog. Start by collecting every request in one place. The goal is not to prioritize yet, it's to stop ideas from living in chat, email, and random notes. This table shows the backlog conversion flow. The columns are intake source, what to do, and the Scrum ready output. Notice each row moves from raw request to a clearer item. Next, the product owner rewrites each item in plain language. Every backlog item should say who needs it, what they need, and why it matters. Then the developer and product owner quickly refine the item together. That short conversation removes vague requests before they reach a sprint. Keep the backlog small enough to manage. If an item is too big or unclear, split it before planning so the team can estimate it reliably. Now rank the items by value, urgency, and risk. A Scrum backlog works best when the top few items are ready and the rest stay ordered but lightweight. A Scrum-ready backlog is not a storage bin. It is a living list of the next best work, refined just enough for the team to start confidently. Remember the pattern: collect first, clarify second, then prioritize. That is how messy intake becomes a backlog the team can actually use. First, compare a scattered setup with a single source of truth. The goal is to keep planning, work tracking, and reporting in one shared system. A stakeholder should see progress without asking for a status hunt. A Scrum Master should spend time removing blockers, not stitching together reports. This table compares the main rollout choices. The columns are platform, best fit, and governance focus, notice that the best fit depends less on brand and more on how tightly the team can standardize work. Use one backlog, one sprint board, and one reporting view. That keeps every story moving through the same path. Limit who can change the process. Too many edits create confusion, while a small governance group keeps the tool usable. Keep the dashboard simple enough for daily use. A burn-down chart should help the team spot drift early, not become decoration. Heads up, the tool is not the transformation. The rollout succeeds when the company agrees on one process, one board, and one way to inspect progress. Remember, this is your rule for selection. Pick the platform that your team can standardize and govern consistently. And keep the dashboard honest. If the burndown is visible and the board is current, Scrum becomes easier to trust. Quick check. Here's a quick check: read the options and pick the best answer. The correct answer is choose one shared system for backlog, boards, and reporting. Scrum works best when the team has one shared source of truth. A single system for backlog, boards, and reporting reduces confusion, makes priorities visible, and supports consistent ceremonies and metrics. Let's recap the rollout. In the first 30 days, focus on one team, one backlog, and one board. Keep the Scrum team, product owner, and Scrum Master tightly aligned before you expand anything. By day 60, stabilize the ceremonies and start measuring flow. Use the sprint board and backlog to spot blockers, and watch the burndown chart for missed commitments. By day 90, standardize what worked and train the next teams. At this point, the process should be repeatable, visible, and supported by a single tool setup. The key is to start small and make the work visible. Scrum succeeds when roles, cadence, and tools all support the same flow. Remember to protect the backlog as one source of truth. Remember to keep the board and burndown chart simple. If people can see progress at a glance, they can improve it faster. Remember to expand only after the pilot is stable. That is how Scrum becomes a habit instead of another tool change.